Chapter 1779, Group Chat for Various Countries. Zhang Yi joined a new group, and at first he didn't find it particularly strange. After all, Fremons couldn't have invited just their family to help. However, soon he noticed a subtle change in the situation. There were already a dozen or so powers from various countries in the group, and if the teams of mutants from these powers all entered Fremons, they would form an ambiguous competitive relationship with Zhang Yi. Yes, it is a competitive relationship. The situation in Fremons has now changed. At first, they came here to help resolve the crisis, but when Zhang Yi and Fremons discovered at the same time that mechanical civilization also contained great opportunities, they were not only trying to save Fremons, but also had to compete for these valuable resources. Zhang Yi's mouth curled up into a sneer, knowing that this must be the meaning of Prodaja and the other Fremons executives. Sure enough, after entering the group, Zhang Yi saw the people from the Pantheon begin to speak. This was a group in the form of a parliament, where everyone appeared inside the meeting hall as a virtual image, although basically everyone chose to conceal their appearance, and only a black shadow could be seen. They were not friends with each other, and there was no need to reveal their appearances in the face of the power of the law of cause and effect. Appearance and real name were both one of the factors. Morana, the goddess of the Pantheon and the winter goddess, did not speak, but Prodaja, the representative of the official administrative body, spoke as the host. Prodaja, everyone here is a friend who is willing to come to Fremons to help us deal with the mechanical civilization. Here, I would like to express my gratitude to you first. Prodaja did not choose to conceal his appearance, after all, everyone was familiar with him. He opened his arms wide and smiled, taking a glance in the direction of Zhang Yi, who sneered inwardly and guessed what the guy was planning to do. Sure enough, Prodaja said to the crowd, "So far, only the mutant beast army from the Huashu kingdom has arrived in Fremons. And I can tell you very clearly that they have already gained huge benefits in their fight against mechanical civilization." In the image, he displayed a portion of the mechanical army and the energy source they had obtained from mechanical civilization. Through our hard work, we have obtained super technological products that surpass human civilization by hundreds of years from captured mechanical life forms. The energy core in the picture is similar to the super-large mechanical life form energy core obtained by Zhang Yi, but it is much smaller, only the size of a fist. It should be the energy core of a sub-mechanical life form, but it is much stronger than that of a mass-produced machine. The silver-gray material is seamless, and there are no traces of industry. It is inlaid with scarlet stones, and a mysterious glow shines into everyone's eyes as the gems in the picture turn. When it appeared, the discerning could immediately tell that it was extraordinary. This is a very powerful and advanced civilization. Prodaja exclaimed excitedly, "Their civilization surpasses ours by several generations. If we can obtain their technology, it will definitely enable human technology to rapidly advance." He then pointed his finger at Zhang Yi and said, "Our friends from the Huashu kingdom can also testify to this. Just now, they defeated an army of tens of thousands of mechanical life forms and obtained a large number of advanced robots and their energy sources." Prodaja's words drew everyone's attention to Zhang Yi. How could Zhang Yi not understand what he was thinking at this time? It was simply that Zhang Yi disagreed with giving the big head to Fremons, so Prodaja, representing the Fremons high level, refused to watch Zhang Yi become too powerful, and therefore chose the strategy of driving the tiger and swallowing the wolf. Good plan. Zhang Yi sneered in his heart. He had no opinion on Prodaja's approach. People are selfish and will only consider issues from their own perspective. From his own perspective, Zhang Yi also understood Prodaja. But understanding is understanding, and there is no reason for him to consider things from Prodaja's perspective. So in his eyes, this is an affront to himself, especially since he has come over to help them resolve the crisis. At this time, from the Brahma side, Emperor Indra leisurely asked, "Chaos, you have gained a lot. Can you share the images of the battle with us, so that we can also learn about mechanical life forms and make it easier to deal with them in the future?" Emperor Indra also has a grudge against Zhang Yi. Although Zhang Yi himself did not remember fighting Emperor Indra remembered it all too well. Zhang Yi had killed him 6 times. If it weren't for the power of the 7 treasure golden steps, which allowed him to transform into 7 different people, he would really have died at Zhang Yi's hands. Therefore, in contrast to Zhang Yi's complete ignorance, he held a great grudge against Zhang Yi. However, Zhang Yi also knew that no one in Brahma would feel good about him. Just by entering Brahma's territory, killing the Yaksha and Maharaga from the 8 tribes, and looting the Jugnanatha temple, a holy place in Brahma, he had made enough enemies to make the entire Brahma population grind their teeth at the mere mention of his name. Now, upon hearing Emperor Indra's request, he sneered inwardly. However, at this time, there were also other people nearby to help out. Well, since the team from the Huashu kingdom was the first to fight against the mechanical civilization, they must know their specific situation. Now that we humans are in the same camp, it is only right that we share information with each other. After all, it's all for human civilization. Such voices kept coming, but Zhang Yi never accepted other people's moral coercion. However, in front of him, Emperor Indra's words had put him on the spot. He was not afraid of people from other countries, but there was no need to give others a bad impression of him. So Zhang Yi curled the corner of his mouth into a sneer, but spoke in a friendly tone. Of course, as a member of the human family, I should contribute to the cause of fighting against mechanical civilization. However, many of our battle scenes involve personal privacy. I will later blur out those parts of the images and share them with you. Zhang Yi's words were not wrong in any way. Top-level mutants are very concerned about protecting their privacy, especially their abilities and real names. You have to understand that if an ability is revealed, it could be used to find a flaw and kill you in an instant during a battle between top-level mutants. As for how much footage they will be left with, that will depend on Zhang Yi's mood. Anyway, he won't let others reap the rewards for nothing. Important information will be hidden, leaving only a little tidbit. Emperor Indra glanced at Zhang Yi and said, "Oh? In that case, there's no way to guarantee that you haven't hidden anything from us." This son of a bitch immediately guessed Zhang Yi's thoughts. Zhang Yi smiled and said, "Where's the trust between people? You may not know me, but if you ask around in the Huashu kingdom, which one of them won't say that I, Chaos, am a good person?" Deng Shintong had also been pulled into the channel at this time, and when he heard Zhang Yi's words, the corner of his mouth twitched fiercely. Everyone is a smart person, and everyone knows that Zhang Yi cannot selflessly disclose all the information. And there is nothing they can do to force Zhang Yi to do so, so the conversation did not continue. However, someone in the group named Jupiter asked Zhang Yi a question. "Mr. Chaos, I have a question, and I hope you can answer sincerely." Zhang Yi's intelligence system had already explained the background of this person to him. He is the god of the Roman pantheon, Jupiter, the god of light. Zhang Yi saw him for the first time and saw that he was relatively sincere in his attitude, so he nodded and said, "Please feel free to ask any questions you may have. As for whether or not to answer and how to answer, it all depends on the situation." Jupiter pondered for a moment, choosing his words carefully, before asking, "Just now, Mr. Pradaja said that on your first day in Fremons, you defeated an army composed of hundreds of thousands of mechanical life forms. How many people were in your team?" Jupiter's question made many people nod in silence. The information they had previously heard was that Fremons was deeply troubled by the mechanical army, and not only had a large number of cities fallen, even the capital city, Karen City, had already fallen. The reason they were still on the sidelines and not rushing to come was to gauge the risks of coming to Fremons. So Pradaja's telling them that Zhang Yi's team had eliminated an entire mechanical legion on the first day made them inwardly shaken. Could it be that the so-called mechanical legion was not actually that strong? Zhang Yi smiled slightly. "My team has less than 100 people, all of them elite mutant beast warriors." Jupiter asked again, "When you fight, do you not receive any support from Fremons or the army of your Huashu kingdom?" He was referring to long-range military strikes. Zhang Yi shook his head. "There's no need for that. It's just some steel and iron, and it'll be over in a few tens of minutes. Prodaja's face twitched a little. His heart sank at his words, and he felt a bit like he had been slapped in the face. Their biggest problem, the Fremon's most thorny issue, was actually something that Zhang Yi could handle with such a light touch. Where would that leave their face? But in order to attract the mutant beast army teams from other countries, he couldn't say anything to contradict him. You see, actually those mechanical legions are just a bit of a problem, but they're not that difficult to deal with. And they also have super advanced mechanical technology and a large number of energy sources. Those are all good things that can quickly enhance the mechanical power of your country. Jupiter nodded, and the mutants from other countries were also weighing the pros and cons. I understand. Emperor Indra spoke leisurely at this time. He smiled and said, Mr. Prodaja, our Brahma mutant army will arrive in Fremon soon. Help you solve the crisis of mechanical civilization. Although Emperor Indra had lost to Zhang Yi 6 times, he always believed that the gap between them was not that great. Moreover, with the ability to glimpse the future, he actually had a greater advantage on the battlefield. He was a master who could command the overall situation, rather than competing with others for temporary gains and losses. Since Zhang Yi was able to achieve great results on the first day of Fremons, Emperor Indra would certainly be able to create even more brilliant achievements. Seeing that Emperor Indra had already spoken, the mutants from other countries also said that they would arrive in Fremon soon. Although a small number of countries are still waiting and seeing, judging from the current situation, they will definitely put going to Fremons on the agenda. Prodaja's face showed a satisfied smile, which was exactly the result he wanted. He then looked at Zhang Yi, speaking with sincerity, but his fake smile still made Zhang Yi feel disgusted. Lord Chaos, your actions in the Far East have been very fruitful. But if I may say so, while we appreciate your help, when you come to Fremons, we hope that you will still act according to our Fremons commands. After all, there will be more foreign organizations from other countries coming. If there are no rules, I'm afraid it will become a rather chaotic situation. There was a subtext to these words. Your actions without authorization will also affect the interests of other countries. Zhang Yi narrowed his eyes, and after a moment, he nodded. Yes, of course we will cooperate with the Fremons. Prodaja's eyes lit up. Then please hurry to the city of Samarin as soon as possible. Your Excellency is the world's top mutant, and we need your strength to help us fight against the mechanical civilization and take back the capital city of Karen. Zhang Yi nodded lightly. We will get there as soon as possible. He didn't say when exactly. The Far East is a long way from Karen City, thousands of kilometers away. It's impossible to drive there in a few months. What? You're saying Zhang Yi can use his space shuffle ability to get there? Activating abilities is not that easy. It's better to drive there steadily. On the surface, Zhang Yi gave Prodaja face, but in reality, he didn't give a damn about this guy. As it turned out, Fremons was not at stake at the moment. Those mechanical civilizations destroyed their cities and killed the Fremons just as a side effect. Their main purpose turned out to be digging caves. Unless there is really an unsolvable crisis in Fremons, his primary purpose for coming here is still to collect supplies and explore the truth behind the appearance of the mechanical civilization. He has a feeling that these tin guys who have been digging holes are definitely digging up an extremely important secret. Prodaja said some more polite nonsense afterwards, but Zhang Yi was no longer in the mood to listen. Mutants from other countries also logged off one after the other, and then prepared to set off on the Fremons journey. They could not sit by and watch chaos get a big advantage. In these chaotic times, the international situation is changing rapidly, with the power of each other waxing and waning. Every time the Huashu kingdom becomes stronger, it means they become weaker. Without sufficient power, they cannot gain the right to dominate the world. After Zhang Yi logged off, he suddenly received a friend request. When he saw the person's ID, a special light flashed in Zhang Yi's eyes. Britannia, King Arthur of the Knights of the Round Table.